Hey everyone, Maury Dunbar here back at Painted Studio. Welcome back on a damp and rainy Thursday here in Chicago. Give me just a second to load up my page so that I can see what's going on. Let me make sure I turn the volume down so we don't have to hear me on echo. It's enough to hear me once. Okay, here I am. I'm live. And now I will be able to see the comments, at least for part of the time, because for whatever reason, Facebook stops playing my lives in the middle of me doing them on my page. Okay, so today we are working on our Nutcrackers. We are going to paint their faces. I have done all the little touch-ups that needed to be done. The paint, all of that, I buffed them extra hard to get most of the skewings off, although there's always going to be something until I seal it, and then we're going to go on to use our sealers, and I'll show you and discuss what needs to be done there. Now, I just printed this off of the internet. I always, because I can never remember exactly how faces are supposed to look for Nutcrackers, even though I've done them dozens of times, I like to print off the faces so I have something to work with. Now, I have been painting all day, so my work area is kind of chaotic and a mess, so I hope you'll be patient with me. Excuse me. Like I said, I've been working, so I'm a little warm. I'm going to push my paints back to the sides, and we'll discuss what colors we're doing on which ones of these. So we're going to start with our gold Nutcracker, and as you can see, he's looking really nice. We have the base, we've used gold tamisay on the body. We've used composition gold leaf on the belt and on the legs and that sort of thing. And then we painted the rest of the black areas with Roberson's Regency Gold Liquid Metal. And this is a product that I carry, so if you love this color, which I love this gold. It's super rich looking, although it looks a little more yellow on camera to me than it actually is. It's a little browner than you might realize. It's gorgeous, but we do have color charts. So if you order Roberson's from us, we throw in a free color chart. No problem there. All right, I'm going to flip the camera down because we're going to have to lay this down so I can actually see the face to paint on it. And I'm going to use a variety of golds. So for things like the eyebrows and the mustache, I'm going to use black and bronze, which is has a little bit of a gold tone to it. Bronze, it's brown, but it's warm enough that'll work. Now for things like the whites of the eyes, I'm going to try, we can use silver, which actually looks like a pearly white, or I might try something like fine gold, or what did I have here? I have champagne. I have fine gold and Renaissance gold, but I think, or fine gold and champagne and Renaissance gold, but I'm gonna see which one looks best, because the fine gold could look a little pinky on here, whereas the champagne might translate better. So we're gonna start. Oh, I didn't loosen these before I went online. I'm going to warn you every time I whack a bottle so that if you don't like the sound of the bottles hitting the table, you can turn your volume down. And the reason I hit the bottles on the tables, these are plastic caps, it just loosens them from the paint. All right, if you don't like the sound, I highly suggest turning your volume down right now. What I use may be determined on by what bottle I can get open. And this is why you clean your bottles instead of being a bad person like I am. All right, we're not bothering with that. I'm tired of that now. We're going to go with the brand new fresh bottle of fine gold. So I'm going to take a small brush and I'm going to pick which face I like. And I kind of like for this guy, I'm going to do the straight across. All right, I got to bring him a little closer to me. I'm sorry. I'll zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. But he's got to be close to me. All right, so I'm going to do, and I check to see the eyeball placement versus the nose. I get that it's not going to be exactly the same. And you know what? This is probably a little, it's going to be a little too close to the tone of the face. So I'm going to paint them both exactly the same, but then I'm going to go back and mix up a little bit of this with the plain silver. Sorry, not warm silver. Let me make sure I'm placing this in the same position on either side. That's the other thing I have to watch, because I guess sometimes, and I can guess very, very wrong. And the eyes need to be bigger too. The other side, I didn't do them big enough. And this side, I didn't do them wide enough. Ugh. Not getting a good angle. Yeah, I'm not loving how this is looking. It's looking a little too close in tone and not enough contrast. Now, I am going to paint this across the bridge of the nose. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is take a little brass and do that on the bridge of the nose. I could do classic gold, I could do any color, but I love this brass. And it's just going to make the bridge of the nose a little brighter so the nose stands out a little more. I don't have to do it on the sides. Okay. Yeah, I'm really not in love with how, I'm not in love with that too. Well, this is why I have so many jars sitting here. When I don't like what I see, I go and find a different thing to work it out with. I do play with this an awful lot, just so that I get the color I like. If I'm not happy, this is too close when it's on the Regency Gold. It's too close to the Regency Gold. It's not drying in a color that's making me happy. All right, so I'm going to put the classic gold on here. Now this might look close too, but it's much better. Oops, I flipped a little on the face. And why am I doing these colors instead of, the colors that are printed on the sheet? Because I'm keeping this all monochromatic. I want to keep this as monochromatic as possible, because I think that plays well with what I've chosen to put on there. Well, actually the fine gold is drying pretty nicely. I'm not as upset with that as I thought I was. It's drying down brighter. I still want another coat of it. And then I have some rose gold here if I can find it, because we'll do the rose gold for the cheeks. This might be one of those days where I've forgotten to grab the rose gold. And I did. Hang on, folks. Just 1 second. I got to grab a jar of rose gold. I had it out because I've gone through so many little jars. I had it out to grab it for just for today, and then I left it sitting on the shelf. All right, let's get that washed out. Grab my little piece of paper. Yes, I know it's a little tiny piece of paper towel, but we don't have big issues to deal with today. This is the face. So I'm going to put a little rose gold on the cheeks, because this likes to have pink cheeks. But it's golden pink, so again, it stays monochromatic. All right, let's make sure here. Now, sit back from this for a second, pick it up, take a look, see how unbalanced it is. Hold it up for a second just so I can kind of balance it out. But there we go with those. Now, I'm going to let that dry for a second. We're going to switch to the silver one. We'll go back and forth as paint needs times to dry. All right. And I don't want to do a second coat over the eyes or anything else until the first coat is dry enough so that when I brush over it, I don't accidentally lift paint off. All right. So here's our little silver nutcracker. And we have a couple things that I still need to paint on here. So this'll keep us busy while that other paint dries. Now we're going to use the solid silver, the silver paint that actually looks almost whitish, which is a nice thing to have, but it does have a definite silver when it dries. All right, so which one of these am I going to do for this? Let's do one that's a little more arched. I'm on late today because I am working late today. So we've got the silver on the eyeball. Now this one, because the sword's in the way, makes the other eyeball a little tougher. So let me move my camera. Let's see, am I up here? There we go. I just want to make sure you all can see what I'm doing. I've got to combat this to get that eye on. And I always turn things right side up to see if I've unbalanced it. Although upside down, I should be able to tell, you'd think. But sometimes I don't. I just need to move things around. I know a lot of painters like to turn their images upside down. They say it gives them, it frees them up a little bit. I find that doesn't work as well for me. Because some people say that if they turn it upside down, they can see the shapes better and not worry about what they're actually painting. I tend to find if I turn something upside down, I don't get the balances right because my brain wants to turn it the other way. And I've taken classes from people who do that, and when you get it, it works great. But it's really hard for me to flip that switch. All right, so there's that. Let me And again, we'll put a second coat on them to make the colors more opaque. And I hope this has got some paint in there that's not completely dried. I think it does. And that was my rose gold that I thought was, that's all dried out. Oh me, oh my. Okay, so I'm going to take our solid silver. Now, solid silver is a little different than the other colors. Oh, there we go. It has a slightly different, more liquidy suspension because there is real metal in here and it sinks to the bottom. So you have to be prepared to stir it. Where's one of my stirring sticks? Here it is. So it gets very thick on the bottom and you want to stir it up completely, and it will want to settle if you're using it for any length of time. So I constantly give this a stir, 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 stir. Now, I've had smaller jars of this where this liquid has sort of evaporated and then I got a thicker solid silver paint. That's not a bad thing. I'm just telling you that when you buy this, you can see how much more liquidy this is than the other paints which are creamier. Okay, now that I've stirred this up, I'm just going to take my brush and take it off of the stirrer instead of dipping into the bucket. Again, I'm going to just highlight my nose on this guy. I will probably only need one coat of this because solid silver can be very, very, very opaque. Why am I not doing the other side? What's the sides on these? It's to highlight the nose. Think of it as contour for your nutcracker. Okay, let me get this solids off of this stick and back into the jar. I don't want to waste them. Let's close that up. I'm going to set that over there. Just want to make sure I fully cover that. All right, next is going to be our little crown pieces. So I'm going to move this up. So these little dots here have not been, sorry, I'm checking to make sure everything's in frame. So that's why I was looking away. Oh. All right, I got to bang this one. Turn your volume down. Well, this absolutely does not want to open for any reason. So I'm going to put the blush on the cheeks. Please tell me. Oh, that one hardened up. I'm a genius. I thought I had this all taken care of. Boy, I am just struggling tonight. I'll be back with another jar of silver blush. Hang on. Boy, oh boy, I'm struggling a little tonight. I swore I had everything I needed, couldn't find it, grabbed more jars. Now this color is called Silver Blush. It is a silver color that has just a little pink in it, so it's perfect for the cheeks. It was like using rose gold on the gold Nutcracker. So we're going to put it on here. Again, I'll clean up my circles. You can use a template if you want to. I freehand everything, so you know a lot of the time stuff will be ever so slightly unbalanced because I freehand it all. I know it's a little, you guys aren't seeing this, but again, I'm battling the sword. I'm also giving my hand a break from trying to pry open that, oops, and I got it off center, so I need to move it over just a little bit. And put them two underneath the eye. I didn't offset it a little bit. It needed to be offset a little more. All right, I think. Okay, so I've got that one done, and I'm going to give another shot to trying to open up that little jar of twinkle, and if I can't get that open, I'm going to slap the jar across the room. There, I got it. Woohoo! I always consider it a victory when I get something to do what I want it to do. Oh, good grief. All right. Again, we're going to take our little brush here. Make sure it's cleaned out. And Twinkle looks white, but it actually has this gorgeous, and I don't know if you can see it on the edge of the bottle, but it has this gorgeous glittery gold reflection. So at the tip here, it will play with the little bits of gold that are already in this on the crown and everywhere else. And I'll want 2 coats on here just because I'll want it a little more opaque. And we're just painting the little balls on the top of the crown. Now this is a very absolutely sheer paint. So if you have any flaws that you want to hide under something, fix that first. I can use this to kind of touch up the edges if there's a little spot that I missed somewhere, because it's so gold reflective that it'll look like there's a little leaf in there too. And you need to make sure to get the back of everything. And that's why, you know, being able to roll the Nutcracker around. And we don't have to do this on the other Nutcracker because why? He is not wearing a crown, and I did his hat in Tamaset, in the solid gold Tamaset flakes. Okay, let's turn this again. Let's get here. Each little ball. Do this carefully because you can easily get this on someplace that you gilded. Take your time. I will probably make mistakes on this because I'm doing this trying to keep everything in the camera frame for you all to see. And I'm talking at the same time, and that's when I tend to make mistakes. If I'm doing this, I'm putting it, you know, if I'm doing this off camera, I'm putting this thing in my lap, I'm rolling it around, I'm flipping all kinds of crazy angles on it to get what I need. doesn't work on camera. You can't see that. Okay. Let me roll this back and see what I've missed. Because I'm telling you, it's really easy to miss stuff. You think you got it covered, and then you realize, no, you didn't do that quite as well as you thought. And the back here is, back behind all of these little dots here, these little balls, is the place you're going to miss. Now, I think I got the entirety of that. Okay, so now we're going to let that sit and dry. We'll come back to the gold. And, you know, let me close up this before I spill it everywhere. Okay, wash this brush out. I'm going to use a little smaller brush to go back in to recoat the face areas that I need to recoat. All right, let's put that where you can all see it. Use the bigger brush, slightly bigger brush. I have so many brushes and so many sizes, and I swear none of them are ever the right size for what I'm doing. Either too big or too small. Now, if you're really good with doing stuff, you could take your brush and just simply spin it in a circle. I don't happen to have the size brush I would need to do that, so I'm just carefully painting circles, and I paint a lot of circles. And the other thing is, I am not going to, you know, get in a tizzy if it's not a perfect circle. I can get really close, but if I wanted perfect, I would have had a template. I would have used a stencil or a sticker or some darn thing to tape off perfect circles. Okay, those are good. I don't like that little ridge there though. Too much paint built up right there. Smooth it out a little bit. There we go. Now for these eyes, I'm going to come back in with a smaller brush. Get myself a little more control this time. And we'll come back with the fine gold. I'm actually okay with this now that it's dried down. I wasn't sure I was going to be happy. I thought it was going to look too close to the tone of the face, but now that it's dried, it's lightened up a lot. And I'm good with that. Okay. So this is one of the things to recognize with metallics. Metallics, even really opaque ones, have a sheer base. So sometimes even your base color needs two coats. Most metallic paints, you can't get this kind of quality coverage. Let me put this where you can see it. Sorry, I went out of frame. Most metallics, you cannot get this kind of coverage in two coats. So we're really doing well with this. All right, I'm going to bring back the other one. We're going to do the second coat on the eyes, the cheeks, and the little balls. again, you kind of need to go back and forth on things. I'm moving them around so you can actually see what I'm doing. Did I just drop that brush? Oh, I spilled brush cleaner. I am a genius because there's just too much stuff on my desk as per usual. All right, so for the cheeks, I need the silver blush, which I put somewhere and I cannot see again. Oh, Lord. Where did I set it down? It was a stinking brand new jar. Here we go. So again, we'll come back in with a slightly larger brush. I'm going to do the cheeks. And I just accidentally knocked that sword loose, but that's easy to fix. And I'm going to leave it alone right now because it makes it easier for me to paint the face. So I cracked it a little bit here, so I'll need to re-glue it. And the sword is the weak spot. Just like on the other one, the drumsticks are the weak spot, the sword's the weak spot on this one. And because it's big and the adhesion point is really small, you have to watch that with these. Or you do what I did, which is crack it and come back and fix it later. All right, let's take that. Put that over there. Let's grab the solid silver. Do the eyeballs. Or the whites. That's not silver. That's top coat. Too many jars that look alike. With too many products that look the same in the jar. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. I want a different brush. I want something smaller so I can control it again a little better like I did with the other Nutcracker. Should have used a smaller brush on the eyes here to begin with. But no, I said I'll wing it. I'll use the same size brush and make my life harder. Okay, I'm going to turn him around just so I can get this side a little better. Okay, that's good. And now we're going to come back. And if you look now at the crown where the balls are, that whitish look from the twinkle has started to clear. And it looks much more silver with a hint of gold on it, which I really, really am liking. So we're going to come back in with Twinkle. Again, I want another coat just because I really want to put the bang in this one. I want that to really be something on there. Touch that spot right there because that'll hide some of that. And I'm going to kind of go into the back. I'm going to get every spot that I can reach with this sitting here like this. And then when I rotate it, it will shift the angle enough for me to see if I've missed something. So let's go here. Again, I'm trying to be really careful because I don't want to break that sword off now that I've cracked it. But I'll use some heavy-duty glue and get it grabbed on really well. So you just saw that the sword move. I don't know if you saw it shift. Trying to get this to stay in frame as I roll it around. All right, let me check back here. Okay, I got all of that. We're going to set that down to dry. We'll come back. Now we're going to come back to the gold and finish up the face. All right, close that up. Let's grab another small brush, and we're going to, for the eyebrows, the eyelash area, and let me show you the eyebrows, the eyelash area, and the mustache. We're going to use, on the gold Nutcracker, we're going to use black and bronze because it has the right tones. So let's grab our gold guy back up here. I think the one thing I wanted to do is paint his pupils. And we're going to use autumn gold if I can get it open. All right, I got to bang a jar again, so watch your ears. Okay. There we go. Got it. I want to get this done first, because then if I need to hit over it with anything, I can. And I can also use the black and bronze to make his pupil. So the iris is autumn gold. And I think I need to turn this upside down because the angle is making it very hard for me to make it a round pupil. I'm making it an oval, which is not normal for a pupil. But with the arms and the drumsticks in the way, it was kind of messing with the way I had my hands on it. So we're going to come over here. And I always start smaller than I need to go because it's easier to add paint than it is to take it away. Go. Rinse that off. Oh. And I dip my sleeve into the black and bronze because that's what I do. It's a good thing I plan for that with most of my clothes. I'm always dunking a sleeve into something. Okay, so we're going to take some black and bronze, and I'm just going to use what's in the lid to do the top eyelash line. And you can see my hands do shake sometimes, so, you know, don't think that that doesn't happen. All right, so let's the eyebrows are above. This. Okay, there's one. Maybe not quite the shape I wanted, but okay, it'll work. Again, painting at such odd angles, I cannot get my hand steady. Okay, let me take a look at him right side up, see if we're close enough. Yep. I want to extend that brow out just a little bit like I did on the other one. All right, and the other thing we're going to do is the mustache. Mustache can have lots of shapes. We're going to go like that. This one I could have used a bigger brush, but I'll do the bigger brush when I come back for the second coat, because I want another coat on here. Okay, there's that one. Now I'm going to turn him. Make sure that's in the frame. And we're going to do this way. And I'll take a look to see if I need to make the other side a little bigger, because I might. Looks like I got a bigger tadpole shape on one side than on the other. Plus I want to make sure it's big enough for the face. Yeah, I want to just expand this guy's face side here just a little bit. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is just take a drop of this black and bronze into the eyeball. And it's too wet, so I'll have to come back and do that when it dries. But now we've got the face basically done over here. We're going to do similarly on our other one. Let me close that up, see if I can keep my elbow out of it this time. Thank goodness for crud cutter and water, because that will get most of my sleeve unbronzed. All right, here's this guy. So yeah, you can see I've got him just a little loose on that sword. I will, after we're done, I'll put some adhesive on it and set him up to be stable so that that will not become an issue. All right, what do I want here? I want that. What's my color for this? All right, we're going to use steel gray for the eyebrows. Yeah, there's still some in there. I get a little worried. Some of these I've had them for so long that they can get a little dried out. Grabs that and put a little water in here. This is the last of this jar, so I don't really care what I do with it. Okay, now where did my jar of blue-gray go? I think it's still sitting here. Once again, silver, wrong color, wrong color, wrong color, wrong color. I had a jar of blue-gray floating around here. I didn't think I could find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. We're going to use the blue-gray to paint the pupils. We're down to the last of everything in these jars. Some of these are the original jars that I brought back from the UK. So I'm not surprised. I'm just hoping that there's still a little bit of here left before I hate to throw out anything that's got any usable paint in there. Oh. So a little bit, that should work. So here's my blue-gray. Roll that brush in there just a little bit more. Okay, come on. There we go. Wet that paint down a little bit. I'm really like pushing the bottom of the jar here. We're going to put his eyeball right in the center of the white. Not up to the close to the top like the other guys was. Trying to give them enough differentiation so that they look like two completely different faces. And on Nutcrackers, the pupils are generally pretty good sized. You know, they're a very simple face, so the features are kind of exaggerated. So we got that in there. Okay, let's see if I can get a little bit of this steel gray out here. Do the same thing I just did with the blue gray. All right, there's that. Water to it, and I'm working on parchment paper, so this is like having a palette, temporary palette right here. It works very well. It's moisture resistant, so it gives me the opportunity to kind of not have to have a separate palette and just work right off of this. All right, let's take this. And let's go over and get. Gotta move them again. Sorry, guys. but my hand is I'm in a position, especially as a lefty, I get in these positions where I'm not pulling the brush, I'm pushing it, and that never gives me a great result. All right, now that I can see these two side by side too, the pupils, I can see this one's a little too small. Whoops. Hand shifted. There we go. They're better matched now. This is why I change angles. I gotta see things. Okay, so now for the eyebrows, we're gonna kind of slant them up a little bit. Let's exaggerate them just a little more. Okay. I'm going to turn it this way. Again, I'm trying to make sure that I am in frame so you can see. And of course, my iPad has frozen, so if you've got questions and comments that I haven't seen, please don't hesitate to ask. I promise you I answer. Oops, that's not quite where I want that to be. So before it dries at all, I want to come up here. And I never get the shapes the same on both sides on the first try. It just, I can't. I'm not physically capable of it, I think. So I'll have to come back, turn it right side up, and see how unbalanced it is. Because upside down, it sort of looks okay, but I'm also painting on strange angles. And now that I've got it like this, I can see that one is angled more than the other, so I have to adjust that angle a little bit. So that they look about the same. All right, we're going to come in here. We're going to do the mustache. The mustache, as my son used to say. And we're going to give him a curlier one. Curls back into the cheek. My hair's now in my eyes and I can't see either. All right, there we go. All right. All right. This side, I'm going to have to turn it. I cannot even come close to replicating that angle going in the other direction. Let's see how I do. It's all right. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is come in and put the pupil in. Now because I watered the paint down, it actually dries faster. But I'm going to have to touch that up because the paint's now starting to fight me a little bit. My pupil's now not centered in the iris. Looks like a blown pupil in a hospital. Alright, I'm getting weird reflections off the paint. So let's take that, rinse that off, come back into the other paint. Go. Now, the only thing left on this one to do is maybe put a little highlight on the eyeball and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that at this very moment. I want to let all this paint dry. I am going to grab my heavy-duty adhesive before I upright him and come right in here into the sword, where I have managed to crack it. All right, and this guy is going to sit upright over here to the side, and I'm going to need to find a way to prop the sword, because right now it's leaning on his nose, so that's not going to be helpful. All right, I'm going to figure that one out in a few minutes, and we're going to start top coating our other guy. Oh shoot, don't do that. Give me a second, folks. I've got things shifting in ways I don't want them to shift. I need to take a piece of paper towel. I'm going to roll it up behind. Let's open this up. What I'm doing is taking a piece of paper towel so I can roll it up behind the sword and prop it up, because what's the point that I just put all that glue in there if I can't get it to stay in the position I need it to stay in? Come on. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, Lord, have mercy. That's not going to do it either. All right, well, I'm going to wipe some of that glue off of there, and I will fix that later. Our next step is now going to be talking about top coating. Let me put all my brushes in the water so none of them get ruined with paint drying on them. Goodness knows, I've been on for a while and I have things flying everywhere. So, let's clean that up. Now, I'm just going to leave this like this. Normally I'd lie it down, but what we're going to do is we're going to seal the legs on this so you can see what I'm doing. But because there's wet paint here, I don't want to lay it down and get paint on spots that it shouldn't, because it's been a long live and I'm starting to get a little bit flustered with other stuff not working properly. All right, and I have a few spots that need a little bit of TLC after rolling things around. So this is our Whitson's Superior, I'm sorry, wrong thing. Whitson's Universal Lacquer for Leaf. This is a phenomenal product. Let me put it up here to the camera. Whitson's Superior Lacquer for Leaf. It is designed to go on tarnishable metals and not cause oxidation, which is a big issue with things like composition leaf and true silver and copper and tamisay flakes and things like that. All of these things are made with metals that will tarnish. And sealants, especially water-based ones, will turn them funny colors. I've used a sealant that literally turned everything I did green. Fortunately, that was many, many years ago. So this is designed to work really nicely. Now, I've already cleaned my leaf. It recommends degreasing, and to degrease, you just use a little bit, and I mean like a drop of Dawn blue dish soap or Whitson's degreaser on a piece of cheesecloth with plenty of water, and you wipe down the surface and then let it dry several hours, if not overnight, and you can come back and seal. I already did that with this thing the other day. I've already degreased it, all of that. If you don't do the degreasing, the reason you're doing that is leaf is made with tools that have oils on them. The paper can have resins on it. You can have contaminants on here that cause the lacquer to sis, meaning it peels away from the surface and it looks dimpled. I have found that not all the time do I have to degrease it, but I will tell you, if you've never used this, to degrease, just because it's not a big deal. You're taking a little bit of soap, a lot of water on your cloth, wiping it down just to make sure there's no oily residue left anywhere, and then you're sealing it. You just want to make sure you let it dry for a little while before you seal it so you don't trap in any excess moisture and have that as an issue. I will use this to seal the whole thing. It can seal right over the paint too. I would not use this normally as a sealant for paint, but I am using it as the same sealant for everything, all my surfaces on here. So just so you know, it can, if you have a combination of products like I do here and you want to seal the whole thing, you can do that. It's not a big deal. It's just not, it's a little expensive just to use over straight paint for no other reason than you need to seal it. So I don't recommend it as just a standard sealer for paints and stuff. I use it when I'm sealing paint with it. I'm using it because I have gold leaf that I need to seal as well. So now the legs are sealed. We're going to continue on with sealing the rest of this, and once they're all dry, I will post pictures of them. They will look phenomenal, but I do have a little cleaning up of my mess around here to do before I do another darn thing and ruin these, because I can do that too. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you for working with me while I struggled with the surface to get things in an angle that you all can see it. If you could only see the mess that's sitting around me now, you'd understand how I knock things over and all of that. But my whole table, elbow to elbow here, my clean spot is right here from where you see the camera. The rest of this is products and stuff that I'm working with. All right, everybody. Again, if you have any questions about what I've done today, sorry, I wanted to get the picture close so I can finish up tap. If you have any questions about the products, the methods, or the tools that I've used, don't hesitate to ask in the comments here. I will absolutely get back to you. It's been wonderful spending time with you today. As soon as these are sealed and dry, I will come back, take photos, and we will have photos of these on our page as well. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you later. Have a great Tuesday evening. Bye-bye.